Everyone likes to be on offense. It feels good. You're in control. You can attack when you want and when it benefits you the most. It's really fun to get your friends all together to do a timed attack or a speed attack on your enemy. But why do you lose so many troops when you attack, and what can you do to prevent losses? Hey guys, this is Heretic, and in this video I'm going to go over the top 5 things you can do to prevent losses when you attack and win battles in the process. So let's get started. So first off, there's a big difference between attacking and defending. Defense always has the advantage on troop losses. So when you attack someone, their troops that you kill will go to the hospital first, up to their hospital capacity, and anything over that, 80% of those will go to the sanctuary until the sanctuary is full. So it's really hard to truly kill off your opponent's troops, especially if they're smart and they're hiding troops, then it's really impossible to do it. But on offense, you're always going to lose some on an attack. So the top 5 things, starting with number 1, is do not attack out of anger. If you get angry with someone and you want to attack them, take some time away from the game and come back with a fresh outlook. Plan the attack. Don't make stupid attacks even if you aren't angry. Think about it. Plan it. In general, you either need to have an overwhelming number of troops and be close to the technology of the person that you're attacking, or you need to have overwhelming technology and be close, at least close to the number of troops of the person that you're attacking. That, or you're just going to lose troops on that attack. And it's not fun. Those troops are permanently gone. So number 2, you need a really good march setup for the attack. The general rule is about between 30 and 40%. We like to say 35% is in front line. And the rest would be your back line. So your front line would be your cav or your infantry. Your back line would be your archers or your mages. And here, it gets a little bit complicated here, but I'm going to try to explain it. But if your alliance is mostly, like most, and especially in the beginning of the game, if they're mostly infantry and mage, and you're going to do a timed attack or a speed attack, if you send cav, then your cav are going to end up dying quickly. The same thing goes if you send odd infantry. Those are going to end up dying, just like your cav. It's because they're going to be the weak link in the attack. And also, for most situations, if you have odd mages, they're also going to get hit because someone's going to throw things out of balance usually, and those odd mages are going to be the first back line that's actually going to get hit when your front line gets flanked. It happens a lot. Also, never send angels in fights where they can be lost. Angels are too hard to rebuild. They're very expensive in time, especially. And you don't want to waste them on regular fights where they can be killed off. Angels are really good for events and for your SOS. Don't use them in your time attacks or your speed attacks ever. All right, number 3, SOS. So an SOS, let me show you what that is. So SOS is a skill that you get at Lord level 35. And so this will allow you to have one attack every 24 hours that all your troops that you would have lost will become wounded and go to the hospital, and then you can just heal them and they'll come back. And that's up to your wounded capacity, right? So if you can't go over your hospital limit, they won't go to sanctuary. You can go up to your hospital limit on losses and no more. But it's like a free attack every day. It is kind of cheap to use, and I only use it for specific situations. But I have some rules for SOS I think that are important here. 1, only use it with good internet connection. And you need to be focused before the attack so that you buff up your castle, Let's look. So you want to go in and you want to do an army expansion, attack bonus, you want to do your HP bonus, you want to go over here. Oops, let me click it again. You want to do your expansion. You want to use, maybe you might want to be able to use your guardian shield if you have that. And what you don't want to, okay. And so that's number one. Number two, only you, if you're doing the SOS, can attack the other castle with the SOS. If someone else in your alliance attacks that castle while you're attacking it, the SOS will not be used and you'll lose troops. So keep that in mind. You need to either tell everybody, I'm going to do an SOS, do not attack this castle, I'm just going to do it, or you just need to surprise hit the other castle. Number three, don't use the SOS skill before you attack. Wait until the attack is in progress. So if I'm attacking here and I'm attacking someone's farm, right? This is the best way to use SOS. You're attacking your enemy's farms and you're getting the resources. And you just keep attacking. But then all of a sudden, your enemy jumps to that farm alliance and they send in to reinforce onto that castle. At that point in that battle, because they're going to wait till swords start, right? They're going to wait till the battle begins before they reinforce. And you're probably not going to realize it. So you're going to see that the battle's close, or you're starting to lose, or you're starting to lose some of your front line. At that point, use the SOS. At the end of that battle, you're done for 24 hours. And then wait till the next day, and then you can attack farms until they do the same thing. Or you can move to another alliance or another location and do the same thing. But don't apply this skill before you send the attack, because 9 times out of 10, you will attack and you won't hit anything. You'll kill one troop or something, and you'll waste your SOS, and you don't want to do that. Number 4, and the last rule I have here, don't attempt, and this happens in every realm, don't use the SOS when you get into the Crown War. And I've seen this on 2 realms in a row where someone's like, oh, don't worry, I got this, and they attack in the beginning. They'll speed in with their SOS, thinking the SOS is going to apply on the tower or on the royal castle, and it doesn't work at all, and they end up losing a whole march on it. Don't do that. It will not work ever. All right, so let's get back to the normal attacks. So number 4, on your attacks, add a buffer. And so what do I mean by buffer? So when you're building your march, go into here, let's go over to number 1, and you're going to put in your front line. You're going to keep it, as close as you can to your 40%, 35%. Then you're going to want to go down, and you're going to want to pick in the same tier. You're going to want to pick some lower level front line. So let's say the 850, and then maybe I'll put in another 6K here of tier 4. And then I'll fill in the rest of my mages here. And what will happen is when I attack, if I'm going to lose any front line, first I'm going to lose the 4, and I'm going to lose some of the 6 before I lose any of my T10s, which are a lot harder to make. They take more time, they take more resources. They're more expensive. So if you're going to lose your low tier. And so what that means is always create some low tier troops so that you're able to keep them as a buffer when you're doing solo attacks. And sometimes I'll even do it, maybe not all the way tier 4, but I might do tier 8 or tier 6 in my TAs and my SAs. And I'll do that just to lower the amount of troops that are killed. Everyone in your alliance needs to do the same thing and be on the same page. In the end, you want to prevent losses that matter to the whole alliance, not just yourself. But this strategy right here works really, really, really well in your solo attacks. All right, number 5. This one is really important too. So, we were talking about an attack. You're in control. You're going to send an attack out. Your alliance, you tell everybody to get in at 19 server time. And you're going to make a big attack on a high-level castle. And there's a potential for losses here, right? You do a scout, and they have 500k troops, right? And you're going to send 30 people out. And let's look at one here. So let's look at one of these bigger battles. So let's look here. So this guy had 300k troops, and we sent 33 out. We lost 72k troops here. First, let's talk about, we did not use Valhalla. And so Valhalla is here, and you really want to use it. So if you go over to Alliance Temple and you go to Valhalla, you can get, if you use this skill, for us it's going to last, and this is, we're at the beginning, this is level 1. So it's going to last for 90 minutes. And so we're going to get attacks off for 90 minutes, and during those attacks, 16% of what would be killed are converted to souls, and they'll come here into Valhalla, and we'll be able to take them out using alliance points. So it's really important to keep that in mind. All right, so that's number 5. So number 6, before I get in and I show you some examples, and not number 6, but bonus here, is wounded conversion. So like we talked about with Valhalla, where you get the 16% of what would have died, and you get them into that kind of special hospital that's Valhalla. You can also go into research, and if you go over to development, there is a thing called wounded conversion here, and you get 5% for wounded conversion 1, and then you get another 5% down here at wounded conversion 2. So that means 10% of your troops that would have died go to your hospital on an attack, and then you can heal them and get them back. So the 16% plus the 10% here, you're doing pretty well. If you're putting in a buffer of low-level troops and you have the right march in there, in the end, the amount of troops that you lose on these attacks will be significantly lower. There's other factors that come into play here. It's going to be your infantry or your frontline health, defense are going to be super important. Is your alliance using a skill like the Guardian Shield, or are you like, if you're doing a solo attack, that works too, and it works for an hour. Also, you have totems here. So you have the Order Guard that protects troops also, and this is on an attack and on defense. So if it's set for defense, but on my attacks, when I use Order Guard and I use my Guardian Shield, the Guardian Shield comes in first. Here, let's go look at that. So the Guardian Shield will protect my front line, and it applies to everyone's front line in an attack, in like a TA or an SA or in events. And if you have multiple people using this at the same time, it stacks. So this percentage of damage goes up and applies to the whole front line. It's amazing. And so that's at the beginning. So right when the fight occurs, you get the shield applied. And then after 8 seconds, you get the Order Guard. And the Order Guard, 9 seconds here after it begins for this one. It will do the same sort of thing. It'll protect one of the frontline troops tiers. So if we're all even tiered infantry, it will put that shield on them after 8 seconds. So it really helps protect that front line and reduce the amount of troops that are killed. What you want to do is keep your front line solid while your back line executes. All right, so let's take a quick look at a couple battles. So I'll show you an SOS, and it was the very first SOS that was used in this realm. And so I'm attacking a guy. He's got 613k troops. my March is 231. He has really good stats too. And let's see. So we'll take a look here at his stats. Pretty solid, not significantly lower. Pretty solid, especially with the number of troops he has here. And I used an SOS. I used my shield, and I can show you how. So I'm using my order totem, and I used the kill troops effect, and I used my artifact skill guardian shield. And let's take a look at what happens in the actual battle. So I'm using all even tier. It's called the spear formation. And so the enemy will all attack that one tier of front line that I have. Because it's SOS, I'm using all tier 10 here. Same thing for my angels. I'm using angels because it's an SOS and I can't really lose them. My goal here was just to soften him up as much as possible for the next fight. Alright, so I lose this fight, but look what happens. Because it's an SOS, I have 0 losses, 138k wounded that I was able to heal up immediately. They all went to my hospital. And 93k survivors. And he had 204,000 that went to his hospital, and it filled up his hospital. And then he had 108,000 losses. All right, which some of those go into sanctuary. So in the end, he probably really lost here a little over 20k. So let's take a look at the next battle. And so this was someone who quit the realm. He's gone. So normally you don't want to do a double hit, triple hit on somebody. And we end up doing a triple. But so the second fight here, we got the whole alliance, and we told everybody, be on at this time, and we're going to attack. So this was 33 people, so 3.7 million troops versus 300k. He lost he lost 264,000 of the 300k that he had. And because his hospitals were full. And so on this fight, he would have lost around 180,000, something like that, 190,000 troops. So a lot. But again, he quit. So let's take a look at the battle. On this one, I did not have the shield. So my shield had come off at that point. And so let's do the replay. And on this one, you can see, look at all the different types of front line that we had going on here. And look how the horses and the odd infantry really got into some trouble here. So let's take a look at the actual losses. So I didn't lose any troops here at all. And I was there in the beginning. There's so many of us that I didn't have as many kills, right? But, okay, so this guy right here, he lost 9,000 troops. Let's see what he lost. He had horses. He had odd cav. He lost 7.4k. He had even cav. He lost 1.6k of those. Let's go to the next guy. So he lost 10k troops, almost 11,000. He had odd infantry. He lost 8,669. And he had odd horses, and he lost the other 2,200 from that. So you can see, and then you had Zyko here. He killed almost 18,000. He didn't lose any. And look what he's taking. I mean, very few odd front line. Almost all tier 10. Front line. So the front line that were lost were the lower tier, but they were off tier also. And what you'll see on this battle is some people did lose But they put some tier 2 buffer in for their infantry, and they lost some of those. So that's kind of normal, but that goes back to that making sure that your march is set up correctly. And so the third attack, it was me, and on this one, I put in some buffer here on my front line. And my goal here was to get my angel dust for the day, and I ended up getting that. So I just took my my tier 10 mages, infantry, and some tier 8 on my front line too, to just buffer the losses a little. But yep. So there you have it. Good luck when you are attacking. Keep all of these things in mind, and you'll reduce the amount of troops that you're lost. Hopefully you won't lose any on your attacks, but eventually you will. Like, I'll lose attacks even if I'll lose troops even if I'm attacking a much lower level castle. I'll lose some. So having a buffer in, having the right march set up, planning my attack, all of those things will reduce the amount of troops that are lost. Not eliminate, but it will really, really, really reduce the amount of troops that are lost. So good luck out there, and take care.